for many people, whether they recognize it or not, they have such a preferred atonement theory that they have developed their whole theology, their whole worldview around, that to attempt to examine their own preference for that atonement theory and recognize that other people have different preferences can be unsettling. What do you mean? There's other atonement theories than my preferred one. But I think the biggest challenge is for people who have just sort of personal reactions against certain atonement theories. That's why I felt like it was so important for me to say at the beginning of the book that some of these atonement theories, you're not only going to disagree with, you're going to have a visceral reaction against them. And I wanted to name some of my experiences pastorally with people who were troubled by particular atonement theories. On page, in the introduction, I say, I think of a person who was troubled by the violence of the cross, seeing it as a reinforcement of our cultural addictions to bloodshed that is all around us. I think about a person whose childhood relationship with a father was one of heartache and abuse, who has trouble believing that God would sacrifice Jesus. That person would see such an act as heartless and cruel. I think of a person caught in an abusive relationship who struggles with Jesus' call to take up your cross. If Jesus willingly submitted himself to suffering and punishment, does that mean we are to do the same? And then I think of a person who is so beset by shame and guilt, a broken spirit, or addictive, self-destructive behavior that it is impossible to see how Jesus can help overcome them. I mean, this is really what's at stake here, that our beliefs about what Jesus did for us on the cross can be liberating and life-giving, but other theories can bring us harm. And so this is an attempt to help people who've been harmed by bad theology, at least the way they've experienced it, and say there are other options out there. And we don't have to all agree about them. In fact, John Wesley would say, there is no one right atonement theory. Right. I've said in the past that I love the metaphor that Scott McKnight brings. Scott McKnight, the author of a community called Atonement, says the atonement theories are like clubs in a golf bag. You pull out a certain club when the time dictates it or when the moment dictates it. You can't golf 18 holes with just one golf club. And so these atonement theories all have their pros and their cons. There isn't one right one. We have preferred ones, just like in my days when I try to golf, I have a preferred club every now and then. But we need all of them to give the full breadth and diversity of the Christian faith, and to know that different people come from different aspects of experience, and they can speak to all of them. So I think that's all what's at stake with the book. It's also what makes it challenging.